Welcome to the Growth Room. Today we're exploring one of the most transformative personal development books ever written, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. In this audiobook summary, you'll discover 4 simple yet powerful principles that can help you experience greater peace, freedom, confidence, and happiness in every area of life. If you have ever felt trapped by self-doubt, weighed down by the constant judgment of others, or exhausted from trying to live up to everyone else's expectations, this message is specifically for you. We are going to deconstruct these profound psychological and spiritual concepts, translating them into ultra-practical, modern-day strategies that you can apply the second you finish listening. To truly understand how these 4 principles can change your reality, we first need to understand where they come from and who brought them to the modern world. The author, Don Miguel Ruiz, was raised in rural Mexico by a mother who was a traditional healer and a grandfather who was a shaman. Despite this deep immersion in ancient spiritual lineages, Ruiz initially chose a very different path. He went to medical school, became a licensed surgeon, and spent years analyzing the human body through the lens of strict modern science. However, a near-fatal car accident changed everything. Finding himself temporarily outside of his physical body during the crash, he realized that scientific materialism couldn't explain the full scope of human consciousness or the profound emotional suffering people experience daily. This awakening drove him back to his roots. He dedicated himself to mastering the ancient Toltec wisdom tradition. Now, when you hear the word Toltec, don't mistake it for a religion or a historical relic. The Toltecs weren't a nation or a specific tribe. They were scientists, artists, and philosophers who formed a society thousands of years ago in southern Mexico to explore spiritual knowledge. The word Toltec literally translates to artist of the spirit. They viewed life itself as a canvas, and every human being as an artist whose ultimate masterpiece is their own life. They discovered that most human suffering isn't an inevitable part of the human condition, but rather a collective misunderstanding, a self-inflicted prison built from the ideas we've inherited. Think about how you navigate a standard day. Why do we feel inadequate when we scroll past someone's highly curated life on social media? Why do we stay awake at 2 a.m. replaying a minor critique from a boss or a passing comment from an ex? Ruiz explains that we are living in what he calls the dream of the planet. From the exact moment we enter this world, we are born into a massive, pre-existing collective dream. This dream consists of all of society's rules, beliefs, laws, religions, cultures, and expectations. It is the operating system of humanity, and it was running long before we arrived. Before you could even choose your own name, speak a language, or decide what you believed about success, happiness, or morality, society began training you. Ruiz refers to this training process as domestication. It sounds harsh, but it is deeply accurate. Just like we domesticate dogs or horses through a system of rewards and punishments, humans are domesticated by their environment. When you were a child and you did what your parents, teachers, or community wanted, you were rewarded with attention, praise, toys, and love. When you broke their unspoken rules, you were punished with disapproval, scolding, or isolation. Because the fear of rejection is one of our deepest primal instincts, we quickly learned to adapt. We started pretending to be someone we weren't just to please the adults around us. We learned to copy their fears, their biases, their definitions of failure, and their insecurities. Over time, this conditioning became so deeply wired into our brains that we no longer needed outside authority figures to discipline us. We became our own most ruthless handlers. This brings us to a massive psychological turning point, the creation of what Ruiz calls the Book of Law. Inside your mind right now, there's an invisible rulebook containing every single belief you absorbed during your domestication. This book dictates how you should dress, how much money you should make, how you should act in a relationship, and what kind of body you should have. To enforce this book, your mind creates 2 distinct personas, the judge and the victim. The judge is that harsh, relentless inner critic that watches your every move. Whenever you make a mistake, fail to hit a goal, or violate a rule in your internal book, the judge steps in to humiliate you. It says, "You aren't smart enough. You always mess things up. Why can't you be more like them?" Then comes the victim. The victim is the part of you that absorbs this abuse, feeling the heavy weight of shame, guilt, and inadequacy. The victim cries out, "You're right. I'm a failure. I'll never be good enough." What makes this dynamic truly tragic is that humans are the only animals on Earth who pay 1,000 times for the same mistake. If a dog makes a mistake, it gets disciplined once, and then it's over. But if a human makes a mistake, every single time the memory resurfaces, the judge opens the book of law, reads the verdict, and forces the victim to experience the exact same emotional pain all over again. We punish ourselves daily for things we did months or even decades ago. This internal system of fear, self-doubt, and emotional exhaustion is what Ruiz terms the parasite. The parasite is an energetic entity made entirely of fear-based thinking, limiting beliefs, and negative self-talk. It feeds on your vitality, leaving you anxious, defensive, and desperate for external validation. You aren't actually living your life. The parasite is living through you, using old, toxic agreements you never consciously chose to sign. True personal freedom means taking your power back from the parasite. It means looking directly at your book of law and realizing that most of the rules inside it are complete illusions designed to keep you small and compliant. Think about how this manifests in modern comparison culture. You see someone on your feed who seems to have the perfect career, the perfect relationship, and the perfect lifestyle, and suddenly your inner judge goes to work, convincing you that your actual life is completely worthless. But you have the power to break these old, limiting contracts. True personal transformation doesn't happen by fighting society. It happens by changing the internal agreements you make with yourself. You cannot rewrite the past, but you can completely change the rules of your current reality. Don Miguel Ruiz offers 4 specific, unbreakable agreements to replace the thousands of toxic ones that currently run your subconscious mind. By practicing these 4 choices daily, you dismantle the power of the judge, silence the victim, and starve the parasite, opening the door to absolute inner peace. Let's dive straight into the engine room of your entire reality, the first agreement. Don Miguel Ruiz states that this is not only the most profound of the principles, but also the most challenging to truly master. It is, be impeccable with your word. To understand why this carries such immense weight, we have to look past our modern, casual view of language. In our fast-paced digital world, we often treat words like cheap confetti, throwing them around carelessly in text messages, comment sections, and casual conversations without a second thought. But the Toltecs understood language as something entirely different. They viewed your word as pure magic. It is the direct tool of creation, a divine gift that allows you to manifest thoughts into physical reality. Everything you see around you, every bridge, every business, every social movement, began as a thought that was brought into existence through the power of the word. But like any powerful tool, language is a double-edged sword. It can build empires of love, confidence, and peace, or it can utterly destroy a person's mind from the inside out. Ruiz often uses the metaphor of human minds as fertile soil. Every word you speak, and every word you allow yourself to believe, is a seed planted in that soil. If you drop a seed of encouragement into a fertile mind, it grows into an oak tree of resilience. But if you drop a seed of fear, doubt, or judgment, it spreads like a toxic weed, choking out your happiness. Let's unpack the word impeccable itself. It stems from the Latin words peccatum, meaning sin, and the prefix im dash, meaning without. So, to be impeccable literally means to be without sin. But let's strip away any religious dogma here and look at this through a purely practical, psychological lens. In Toltec philosophy, a sin is anything you do that goes against yourself. Therefore, being impeccable with your word means using your energy in the direction of truth and love for yourself. If you use your words to judge, mock, blame, or diminish yourself or someone else, you are misusing your magic. You are using your words against yourself, and that is where human suffering begins. Think about how this plays out in your daily self-talk. How many times a day does your inner judge make a casual, offhand comment like, "Wow, I'm so stupid," after a minor mistake? Or perhaps you look in a mirror and think, "I look terrible today, I'm getting so old." You might think these micro moments of self-deprecation are harmless, but your subconscious mind takes them as literal truth. Every time you speak negatively about yourself, you're casting a minor spell against your own well-being. You are signing a contract that states you are unworthy, incapable, or flawed. The misuse of the word doesn't stop with self-talk. It extends outward into our social circles through one of the most toxic habits of modern humanity: gossip. Ruiz compares gossip to a computer virus. Imagine your mind is a perfectly functioning, high-speed computer. Gossip is a malicious piece of software that someone else introduces into your system. When someone comes to you and says, "Did you hear what Sarah did? She's completely untrustworthy," they're dropping a virus into your brain. Suddenly, your perception of Sarah changes. You look at her through the distorted lens of someone else's unresolved anger or insecurity. You didn't experience Sarah's behavior yourself, yet you've accepted a toxic piece of data as truth. In our current digital landscape, this computer virus has gone completely viral on a global scale. Look at how social media algorithms thrive on the misuse of the word. Cancel culture, cyberbullying, and toxic comment sections are nothing more than digital gossip magnified a million times over. Millions of people use their words to tear down strangers behind anonymous avatars, spreading emotional poison across the globe. When you participate in this, even by just silently reading and validating it, you pollute your own emotional environment. You are training your brain to live in a state of judgment and defense. So, how do we practically apply this agreement in our modern lives? How do we build unbreakable confidence through our words? It starts with absolute awareness. You must become the gatekeeper of your own throat. Before you speak, pause and put your words through a simple filter. Is this true? Is this necessary? Is this kind? If you are a student, instead of repeating the old mantra, "I'm terrible at math, I'm going to fail this exam," shift your words to align with growth. This material is challenging, but I have the capacity to learn and figure it out. Notice the difference? The first statement closes the door to learning. The second opens it. If you're a leader or a manager at work, your words carry 10 times the weight. When a team member makes a mistake, you can use your word to shame them, which destroys their creative confidence and breeds resentment. Or you can use your word impeccably to address the mistake constructively, preserving their dignity and inspiring them to find a better solution. In your personal relationships, being impeccable with your word means speaking with absolute clarity and integrity. It means telling your partner exactly how you feel instead of dropping passive-aggressive hints and expecting them to read your mind. It means keeping your promises. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. Why? Because every time you break a promise to someone else, you also break a promise to yourself. You teach your subconscious mind that your own word has no value, which completely erodes your self-esteem. When you begin to practice this agreement consistently, something incredible happens. You start to notice that the emotional poison around you no longer has a place to land. By refusing to participate in gossip, by stopping the flow of self-criticism, and by intentionally using your words to spread truth and encouragement, you cultivate an internal fortress of peace. You stop feeding the parasite. Your mind becomes a sanctuary where seeds of fear simply cannot grow, and you reclaim the true creative power of your life. Now that we've laid the foundation with the power of language, let's step directly into the strategy that will give you instant emotional bulletproofing. The second agreement is, don't take anything personally. If the first agreement is about managing the energy you send out into the world, this second agreement is your ultimate shield against the energy coming at you. Think about how much energy you waste every single day reacting to the opinions, moods, and actions of others. A stranger cuts you off in traffic, and it ruins your mood for an hour. A coworker gives you a sharp, short answer in the break room, and you spend the afternoon wondering if they're secretly trying to sabotage your career. A family member criticizes your life choices, and you instantly flare up in defensive anger. Don Miguel Ruiz drops a truth bomb that shatters this entire cycle. Nothing other people do is because of you, is because of themselves. Let that sink in for a moment. When someone hurls an insult at you, cuts you off, or treats you with disrespect, it has absolutely zero to do with your worth, your character, or your reality. They are operating completely within their own mind, reacting to their own book of law, and wrestling with their own internal parasite. They are trapped in their own personal dream. If they're filled with anger, fear, or insecurity, that is the emotional poison they will pour out onto whoever happens to be standing in front of them. You just happen to be the convenient target. Imagine walking down the street and meeting someone who is completely intoxicated. If they stumble up to you and yell, "You are an ugly, horrible person," would you take it to heart? Would you go home, look in a mirror, and cry over their words? Of course not. You would instantly recognize that their statement is a reflection of their altered state of mind, not a factual assessment of your appearance. Yet, when people who are emotionally intoxicated by their own unresolved trauma, stress, or anger project their pain onto us, we swallow it whole. We accept their poison, and it becomes our own. Ruiz warns that taking things personally is the highest expression of what he calls selfishness. Now, that might sound surprising at first. You might think, how am I being selfish by feeling hurt? But think about the psychology behind it. When you take something personally, you're operating under the false assumption that everything in the universe revolves around you. You assume that other people spend their days carefully calculating how to affect your life. They don't. Everyone is the main character of their own movie, and to them, you're simply a background character passing through a scene. Let's look at how this plays out in the modern jungle of social media. This is where the second agreement becomes a survival requirement. Let's say you post a video, a photo, or an opinion online. One person comments, "Wow, this is incredibly inspiring. You're amazing." A minute later, someone else comments, "This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Delete your account." If you take things personally, you will ride a toxic emotional roller coaster. The praise will inflate your ego, and the criticism will crush your self-esteem. But the truth is, both comments are illusions. The person praising you is simply projecting their own positive mindset and values onto your content. The person attacking you is projecting their own misery, envy, or bitterness. Neither of them actually sees you. They only see the digital mirror you are holding up to them. The exact same rule applies to workplace conflicts. Imagine your manager walks into a morning meeting looking furious. They slam their laptop onto the desk, critique the team's latest report with brutal harshness, and barely make eye contact with you. If you lack this agreement, your mind will instantly go into panic mode. Did I mess up that email? Are they planning to fire me? I knew I shouldn't have taken that day off. You carry that anxiety like a heavy weight all day, which kills your productivity. But what if you looked through the lens of the second agreement? You would realize their behavior is an expression of their current storm. Maybe they just got reprimanded by the executives upstairs. Maybe they're going through a difficult divorce. Maybe they're suffering from a massive migraine. By refusing to take it personally, you remain calm, anchored, and objective. You can offer help or space without absorbing their chaotic energy. This principle is the ultimate key to relationship challenges as well. In marriages, partnerships, and close friendships, we often cross lines because we interpret our partner's mood as a direct statement about our value. If your partner comes home exhausted and quiet, and you instantly think, "They don't love me anymore, they're bored of this relationship," you will likely react with defensiveness or coldness. This creates a completely unnecessary argument out of thin air. But when you master this agreement, you gain absolute emotional freedom. You can look at an angry partner and think, "They're hurting right now. This isn't about me," allowing you to respond with genuine empathy instead of matching their hostility. When you refuse to take things personally, you become entirely immune to the emotional manipulation of others. People can lie to you, judge you, or try to provoke you, but their word will glide right past you like water off a duck's back. You no longer need to waste your precious life force defending yourself, trying to prove others wrong, or begging for their approval. You give yourself permission to walk through the world with an open heart, fully grounded in who you are, knowing that no one else's opinion can ever redefine your truth. Let's advance seamlessly to the next pillar of emotional freedom, a habit that is responsible for an overwhelming majority of human anxiety, broken relationships, and silent suffering. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. Take a moment to look honestly at how much mental drama you create in a single week simply by filling in the blanks of what you don't know with your own worst fears. Your partner sends a text message that just says, "We need to talk later." Your brain instantly assumes the relationship is ending, and you spend the next 4 hours in a state of sheer panic, mapping out your single life. Your boss schedules an unannounced meeting for Friday afternoon, and you immediately assume you're getting laid off, so you spend the night updating your resume in a cold sweat. You text a close friend, they don't reply for 10 hours, and you assume they're secretly angry with you or ignoring you on purpose. Don Miguel Ruiz exposes the dark side of this human tendency. The problem with making assumptions is that we believe they are the absolute truth. Our brains are hardwired to hate uncertainty. When there is a gap in our information, it creates an uncomfortable cognitive tension. To relieve that tension, our minds instantly manufacture a story to explain what is happening. But because most of our subconscious programming is managed by the parasite and the judge, the stories we manufacture are almost always negative, fear-based, and deeply distorted. We invent a scenario, we convince ourselves that it is factual, and then we react emotionally to our own invented lie as if it were reality. We actively poison our own peace of mind before we even have a single shred of actual evidence. This is the ultimate cause of what modern psychology calls overthinking and chronic anxiety. We don't just stop at making the assumption. We take it a step further by taking our assumption personally, which welds the second and third agreements together into a toxic cycle. We assume someone's behavior is a direct reaction to us. We create a massive internal narrative about why they did it, and then we go to war with them, either out loud or completely in our own heads. Think about how this absolutely destroys modern relationships. In marriages and close partnerships, we often fall into the dangerous trap of believing our partners should know exactly what we want, what we feel, and what we need without us ever having to say a word. We think, if they truly loved me, they would know how tired I am tonight, and they would offer to cook dinner. When they don't offer, we assume they don't care about us. We become cold, distant, and passive-aggressive. When they ask what's wrong, we snap, nothing, and force them to make their own assumptions about our behavior. It is a continuous, exhausting game of psychological hide-and-seek that tears down trust and intimacy. The root cause of all this chaos is a profound fear of communication. We make assumptions because we are terrified to ask questions. We are afraid that asking for clarity will make us look weak, foolish, or overly sensitive. We are scared of hearing an answer we don't like, so we prefer to live in the toxic comfort of our own fabrications rather than facing the objective truth. So, how do we shatter this destructive loop and apply the third agreement directly to our modern lives? The remedy is incredibly simple, yet requires immense courage. Find the courage to ask questions and communicate with absolute clarity. The very second you catch your mind spinning a dramatic narrative about what someone else is thinking, feeling, or doing, you must hit the mental pause button. Replace your internal storytelling with direct inquiry. If you're a student or a young professional navigating a complex project, never sit in silent confusion assuming you know what your professor or client wants. Don't guess. Don't risk your success on a hunch because you're afraid to speak up. Walk up to them and ask better questions. To make sure we are completely aligned, could you clarify your specific expectations for this section? People are rarely offended by sincere requests for clarity. In fact, exceptional leaders and educators respect it immensely because it demonstrates a deep commitment to excellence. In your friendships and social media interactions, if a comment or an unfollow triggers your insecurity, Don't let it fester into a grudge. Either choose to let it go completely or address it directly with open, non-defensive communication. Say, "Hey, I noticed things felt a little distant between us lately, and I want to check in. Is everything okay with us?" By replacing passive-aggressive overthinking with an open heart, you dismantle the misunderstanding before it has the chance to morph into a relationship-ending conflict. In your romantic relationships, you must completely eliminate the expectation of mind reading. If you want help around the house, ask for it clearly. If you need emotional support after a brutal day at work, say it explicitly. "I had an incredibly stressful day, and I don't need advice right now. I just really need you to sit with me and listen for 10 minutes. This level of radical transparency shifts your relationship out of the realm of assumptions and into the realm of absolute truth. When you master the third agreement, your entire internal landscape transforms. The relentless chatter of overthinking slows down to a crawl. You stop wasting hours of your life playing amateur detective, trying to decode the hidden meanings behind text messages, facial expressions, and office politics. You give yourself and others the profound gift of clean, honest, and mature communication. By demanding clarity over comfort, you completely starve the parasite of its favorite food, fear and confusion, and you pave a direct, unshakable path toward lasting inner peace. Let's weave everything we've learned into a single, seamless engine for daily life. The first 3 agreements might sound beautiful, but without this next principle, they remain nothing more than abstract philosophy. The 4th agreement is the catalyst that makes the rest possible. Always do your best. This agreement is the ultimate antidote to the twin poisons of modern life: perfectionism and burnout. We live in a hyper-competitive, high-performance world where we are constantly bombarded with messages telling us we need to hustle harder, sleep less, and achieve flawless execution in everything we do. If you look at comparison culture on social media, it tells you that if your life isn't a flawless sequence of aesthetic, highly productive days, you are somehow failing. This toxic conditioning sends our inner judge into overdrive, setting impossible standards that inevitably lead to self-doubt, chronic stress, and exhaustion. Don Miguel Ruiz provides a liberating psychological shift. Your best is never going to be the same from one moment to the next. Your capacity changes constantly depending on your physical health, your emotional state, and your environment. Your best on a beautiful morning when you've had 8 hours of sleep, a healthy breakfast, and a clear mind is going to look completely different from your best on a rainy Tuesday when you are battling a cold, stressed about a deadline, or recovering from personal loss. If you try to force yourself to perform at your absolute peak when you are physically or emotionally depleted, you will run yourself into the ground. That is overexertion, and it leads directly to burnout, resentment, and injury. On the flip side, if you yield to the whispers of the parasite and give less than what you are truly capable of in the present moment, you open the door to guilt, self-judgment, and regret. The secret to sustainable success is adjusting your effort dynamically to match your current energy level. If you are operating at only 40% capacity due to exhaustion or illness, and you give that full 40%, you have successfully done your best. The judge has absolutely no legal ground to stand on. There is no room for shame or self-punishment when you know, with absolute honesty, that you did exactly what you could with the resources you had at that moment. Let's look at how this applies to personal development and authentic living. When you adopt a true growth mindset through the 4th agreement, you completely change your relationship with failure. Most people give up on their goals, whether it's a new workout routine, a creative project, or a mindfulness practice, the exact moment they slip up. They make a mistake, their inner critic yells, "See, you ruined it, you're not cut out for this," and they throw in the towel. But when you commit to always doing your best, action itself becomes your reward. You aren't doing it for the praise, the money, or the external validation. You're doing it because you love being alive and you want to express your energy fully. You do your best because it feels incredible to honor your potential. If you slip up, you don't take it personally, You don't make assumptions about your worth, and you don't use your words to curse yourself. You simply wake up the next day, evaluate your current energy, and do your best again. Now that we have all 4 principles on the table, let's explore how to integrate them into a daily practice framework so they become second nature rather than just nice ideas. Transformation doesn't happen by accident. It happens through intentional daily repetition. Your morning mindset routine is where you set the terms for your day. Before you even touch your phone or open social media, before you allow the dream of the planet to flood your consciousness, spend the first 5 minutes of your day establishing your new contracts. Sit quietly and mentally activate the framework. Today, I will be impeccable with my word, speaking only truth and kindness to myself and others. Today, I will not take anything personally, recognizing that other people's actions are a reflection of their own internal reality. Today, I will not make assumptions. I will find the courage to ask questions and communicate clearly. Today, no matter what happens, I will simply do my best with whatever energy I have. As you move through your day, focus on self-awareness exercises. Think of awareness as a muscle. Every time you catch yourself entering a toxic loop, whether you're reading an angry online comment, overthinking a text message, or spiraling into self-criticism, congratulate yourself. Why? Because the moment you notice the behavior, you have stepped outside of the illusion. You have caught the parasite red-handed. In that moment of mindfulness, take a deep breath, recalibrate, and consciously choose to apply the relevant agreement. When it comes to your communication habits, make clarity your default setting. If a meeting ends and you feel an underlying sense of confusion, stop and ask for clarification immediately. If a loved one seems distant, check in with love instead of retreating into the cold comfort of an assumption. Finally, implement a brief evening reflection practice. Before you go to sleep, review your day without a single ounce of judgment. Do not let the judge read from the book of law. Instead, act as a neutral observer. Where did you slip up? Did you gossip? Did you take a coworker's bad mood personally? Did you let an assumption run wild? Acknowledge it, learn the lesson, release the emotional weight, and recognize that by showing up and analyzing your day with honesty, you're actively doing your best. You are breaking the old agreements and painting a magnificent new masterpiece on the canvas of your life. The final integration. We have journeyed deep into the heart of Toltec wisdom, dismantling the invisible chains of our social conditioning and exposing the mechanics of the internal judge, the victim, and the parasite. Now, let's bring this entire transformation full circle. If we boil down the deepest lessons from Don Miguel Ruiz's masterpiece, it is this: your emotional suffering is not a mandate of the universe. It is a symptom of toxic agreements you consented to when you were too young to defend yourself. You do not need to change the world, rewrite your past, or fix the people around you to experience absolute inner peace. True emotional intelligence and authentic living begin the moment you realize you are the sole author of your current reality. The 4 Agreements Framework. Let's do a complete recap of the unshakable framework we've built. Agreement 1. Be impeccable with your word. Use your language strictly in the direction of truth and love. Eliminate the self-criticism, refuse to engage in gossip, and recognize your words as the ultimate creative magic they are. Agreement 2. Don't take anything personally. Recognize that nothing other people do is because of you. Their anger, their praise, and their judgments are simply a projection of their own internal dream. Let their poison glide right past you. Agreement 3. Don't make assumptions. Break the loop of chronic overthinking and anxiety. Find the radical courage to ask better questions and demand absolute clarity over comfortable fabrications. Agreement 4. Always do your best. Release the suffocating weight of perfectionism. Dynamically adjust your effort to match your current energy level. Step out of self-judgment and embrace a sustainable growth mindset. Common mistakes to avoid. As you step forward to implement this new blueprint, be on the lookout for the single biggest mistake people make when they first discover this book. taking their failures personally. You will slip up. You will catch yourself gossiping. You will let a rude stranger ruin your afternoon, and you will make a wild assumption about a text message. When that happens, the old parasite will try to hijack your mind. Your inner judge will open the book of law and try to punish you for failing to keep the 4 agreements perfectly. Do not fall into that trap. Trying to keep the agreements perfectly is a violation of the 4th agreement. When you trip, simply extend a hand of deep empathy to yourself. Look at the mistake with neutral self-awareness, adjust your strategy, and keep moving forward. Your practical action plan. Do not let this message fade into a distant, pleasant memory. Take action starting tomorrow morning. Commit to a 5-minute morning reset. Recite the 4 choices before you touch your phone. Practice 1 agreement intentionally each week. Focus deeply on just 1 principle for 7 straight days until it becomes a subconscious habit. Audit your environments. Intentionally mute the digital noise. Distance yourself from toxic gossip loops and protect your internal sanctuary. You are the artist of your own spirit, and the canvas is completely blank. The old agreements have expired. It is time to sign a new contract with yourself, one rooted in freedom, confidence, and unconditional self-acceptance. Thank you so much for investing your time and energy with us today. If this deep dive resonated with your soul, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below sharing which of the 4 agreements you need to practice most in your life right now. Your engagement helps this message reach the people who need it most. Welcome to the Growth Room. This channel is entirely dedicated to bringing you the world's most powerful, life-altering books on mindset, psychology, happiness, productivity, spirituality, and personal growth. We do not just summarize pages. We deconstruct them into practical, actionable tools designed to help you break free from limiting beliefs and unleash your highest potential. Remember, you're not trapped by the conditioning of your past. You are one conscious choice away from a completely different life. Step out of the collective dream, silence your inner critic, starve the parasite, and start walking the path of absolute personal freedom. Always do your best, honor your truth, and we will see you in the next episode inside the Growth Room.